Thank you. This petition, I'm really glad to be here at this launch this evening. It really speaks to our experience in Ireland as well, where, as you might have heard, the same austerity is being imposed, the same attack on the welfare state is happening, and we are constantly being told, as you're being told here, that there's no money for any of us, for what we need. There's just no money, but we have to suit the market. The market comes first. And women and children in Ireland are hit the most, just as is the case here in the UK. There was an Irish government study came out just today that the most recent budget we had there hit households with children the hardest, and single mothers were the worst affected. That's their own study, the government's own study from the Department of so-called Social Protection, which is headed by a Labour woman minister who implemented those cuts. It's shameful. Child benefit she has, and the previous government has repeatedly cut. There have been cuts to women's refuges and homeless shelters, which means they can't cope with the numbers needing help. Mothers have to work, of course, even harder to make up for all the cuts in services. Just listening to what you are experiencing with the health service here, people in Ireland who are seriously ill, pensioners and those with disabilities have found that their home help hours and other allowances have just been absolutely slashed. And what are they doing that for? They're preparing for privatisation. So that is what is already happening to you here, they are trying to push in Ireland. The health service, which never was what you had with the NHS here. We already all have to pay for GPs, for hospitals, for it's €100 for emergency care. When you go to the hospital, it's 50, 60 euros to go to a GP. Everyone except those on welfare have to pay that. The health service is in absolute crisis. You may have heard that a woman tragically died in Galway Hospital, Savita Halappanavar, after she was refused an abortion because the government had failed to legislate for the last 20 years for abortion. After her inquest, where all the failures came out of the hospital, there's just been a wave of information of the devastation that the market, the uncaring managerial logic is causing in all the hospitals. This wasn't just the case in one hospital. And the cuts in Ireland have meant that racism is rising as well. A traveller organisation recently reported that state spending on traveller education has fallen 86% since 2008, since they start implementing the cuts. Traveller accommodation spending is down 85%. Travellers are being burnt out of their homes, and some Irish politicians are openly advocating apartheid. Why don't they just go and live somewhere else from the settled population? So I really think we have to hear about each other's struggles, and in order for all of us to be more effective, that we hear from each other within this country, but across countries as well. And people are fighting back in Ireland, just like fantastic fightbacks that I'm hearing about here tonight from you. Pensioners marched in their thousands a few years ago to try and stop the cuts. People with disabilities camped overnight outside the Parliament and won a reversal of some of the cuts. And just to end, I thought that the point that has been made by Selma in her article today about, there's no party to represent people. Nobody is representing us in Parliament. And it used to be like that in Ireland, where one party mainly dominated politics, there are a couple. But in the last election, where they'd already implemented a lot of the cuts, those parties suffered. One lot got thrown out, but also parties are a lot of independent TDs, as we call them, MPs, who would speak against austerity and would support people, did get elected and are raising some of the things that people want raised in Parliament. So, you know, there's just a big fight back that's happening, and I hope that we will continue to hear from you, and that we can come here and speak with you as well. I think we have to share that information and get together. Thank you.